Okay, good morning, YouTube fans. Hopefully, this is a close enough shot. So I'm trying to use my Samsung Fold 5 for the first time, actually making a video, and I'm sitting in my living room. So anyway, really quickly, I want to make a quick recap video of my experience at the Capital Audiofest. That was just this past weekend. So first thing first, the biggest regret I have for going to the show is that I did not get to meet the audiophile junkie. So I saw Jay from Jay's Audio Lab. He walked past me one time. He walked back again. I grabbed him and said, "Hey Jay, how you doing?" And he looked at me like, "Who are you?" Of course. And I shook his hand and said, "Hey, I love your stuff, yada yada yada." And he went about his business. And I saw him a couple of times sitting around in other rooms. But right after that, I saw, and it's a shame I don't even know the man's real name. I've watched his videos all the time, I can't think of his name. But anyway, the audiophile junkie is very flamboyant, wears a lot of colorful clothes and rings and eyewear and hats and whatnot. Anyway, I saw him, but when I saw him, he was recording an interview with one of the cable company booths. So I'm not gonna interrupt him doing that. So I watched, I walked away, came back, and then I saw him up on the main level, and I was behind him, and I started, and I was gonna, like catch up with him, but I started to feel like I was stalking him. It felt weird, so I just walked up and said, "I'll catch him another time," but I never saw him again. So it seemed like I just finished watching his recap video and watching some of the videos that he took, and he was in a lot of the same rooms I went to, but I never ran into him again. So I kind of regret that because I know he's way on the other side of the country in California, somewhere on the West Coast. And, chances are I'm not going to go to another show where he is. It'll have to be at the Capital Audiofest. So that was my biggest regret. So the other side of it is, this is a super large show. I feel like there's probably a lot of echo in this video, but so forgive me on that. I feel like I need to move the camera closer, and I think I will. Just a little bit. This is that high production value you get from my channel. Okay, so that's better. It's a very large show, like 7 or 8 floors. The lobby floor, and then below the lobby floor, you've got all of this, the vinyl sections and the vinyl cleaning equipment, cables, a lot of booths like that. Of course, VAC is over in the corner. They have a whole little wing that's just theirs. But this year they didn't have the really super high-end systems in that room that they've had in the first year that I went. Legacy Audio was there, and I just really have this affinity for Legacy Audio, mostly because it's good sound equipment, but it just looks great. If space and money and time and energy weren't factors, that'd be something I'd actually want to own and see in my room every day, and sit down and enjoy, drink a cup of coffee, sip some tea, and listen to some music. They just appeal to me aesthetically. Just really love the way they look and they sound. I'm sure there's much more detail and things about it that I do not know. Okay, but nonetheless, I want to make this video really quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time with it. But overall, it's a great experience, but it is a lot to see, and I did not see it all. The first day ended so fast, and then I was just tired, and I left. The next day, I said, I'm going to go in. I still didn't get in at 10 like I wanted to. Got in around 11-ish, and I spent probably the first 2 hours just looking at vinyl. And I actually did buy some vinyl. Let me get the card. So I did buy some vinyl from Russell Katz, the Vinyl Reviewers. Let me see if I can put that card in here. Russell Katz, the Vinyl Reviewers. He's somewhere in the Maryland area, I believe. Yeah, Simpsonville, Maryland. I bought about $215 worth of vinyl, some stuff that I hadn't found. The yellow album with the race on it. I had ordered it on Discogs previously, and then the order got canceled and I never got it. They had one copy. I grabbed it and when I had it in my hand, one guy, a couple of guys actually were watching me carry it around, and they said, "Hey, what is that?" You know, and one he walked up to me and said, "Can I take a picture of that album?" Because he wanted to know about it. Apparently, someone had mentioned it to him. But anyway, so I got that. I got a couple Parliament albums. One actually a Funkadelic album, and the Close of Dr. Funkenstein, which is an album. It's hard to find apparently. I went on Amazon and they had it on there for 99 bucks used, and they had one for 30. Had a few surface scratches. I asked nicely. I don't know what the name of the company was there, but that's another Virginia seller, I believe. And I said, well, it had a couple of surface scratches on it. She gave it to me for 25, so I snatched that up quite quickly. And a few other things, Steve Miller, some other things, but a couple $100 worth of vinyl to add to my collection. So that was really nice. Went through a lot of rooms. My intention in this show, because in the previous times I went to the Cap Audiofest, there were not rooms for the things I really want to see, like NBL. There was no NBL room. This time there was an NBL room. They didn't have the one-on-one extreme, but they did have the next model below it, the one-on-one, I believe. And beautiful stuff. If money was no object, I would definitely own some NBL. But you know, it's a room setting and it's quiet and it's not really playing the music I would want to hear on it, but just aesthetically and the quality, the known quality of the systems is great. That kind of leads me to the room that was next to it, which everyone has spoken about. Actually, I went in before, and my asthma kicks in when there were scents in the air and too many fragrances. And in this room, he had some flowers, he had candles burning, and it was completely dark. You couldn't even see the system. German guy, and everyone's spoken about him, but his room, he's got these really nice systems. He said for like about 10 grand, you get the speakers, you get the amplifiers, you get everything, and it's very high-end equipment, a great value. It was in the Montrose room. See, now I don't even know the name of the speakers, and I thought I had a paper for it, but anyway, not to belabor the point. I want to say the guy's name is Klaus. I know he's German. He's a pretty raw guy. He doesn't mind saying a few expletive deletives when he's speaking to you, no matter who's in the room. But he has a sweet spot, and we're just rotating around in this sweet spot, listening to his $5,900 speakers and a $995 amp, and it was exceptional, honestly. But the room had too many candles and too many fragrances, and I was choking up. And he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine. It's just your voice makes me cry." He laughed. There are a lot of responses I could say to that, but none of them are appropriate. So that was my final moment in the show. The best rooms, we talked about OCD Mike's room. And again, you had your bets when you put really high-end equipment that doesn't look like really expensive high-end equipment that doesn't look like it's really expensive high-end, and then you play something. Things, for me, I'm just an average guy. I don't have millions of dollars or thousands of dollars for that matter, to spend on equipment. I get what is affordable, what's normal, what's useful. That's high-end to me. But it was honestly a really nice room. I like to have some Jeff Rowland amplifiers in any of my systems. But again, I've got old vintage Techniques and Sony, and I've got my Cinema 50 and my D9. But I mean, these are just average, big box sellers. They're not anything special like Dan D'Agostino or Jeff Rowland. But at any rate, some of the best rooms I went to was the Orion. I just saw it too. And it was the Orion audio. They had a line array, a ribbon tweeter with an array of subwoofers. That room sounded incredible. But probably the very best, technically best room listening was the Acora. And they played a vinyl on a nice giant VPI turntable of Henry Mancini's the Pink Panther, and it was just so crisp, so clear, so exact. Very nice room. What I did know is just looking at other people's videos about the room that those speakers were made out of granite, so they're probably like 1,000 pounds each. Very solid, stable. But I mean, you go into the room and it's like you walked into music. There was not a system. You walked into music. It was clear, clean. Of course, you'd have to afford that. I did go into the diptyque room. I was interested in that product after watching a couple of videos about it, and they had the smaller version, the $17,000 pair, and it was nice, but I didn't feel overwhelmed, honestly. I did go to see the Magnum Pan room, and I'd never heard Magnum Pans before. I've been wanting to, so I went in there. But when I went in there, I met a guy who has another YouTube channel. You may have seen his channel. It's called My New Devices, I believe. And I don't know his name either. And we sat and talked for a while. So the first time I went in there, I said, "Hey, I know you," and we were talking. But because we were talking, I couldn't really listen to the speaker, which is what I was in there for. So I don't want to be rude, so I continued to listen, and we talked. I came back to the room the next day, and asked the guy to play my song of choice for checking out every system was that Tool Chocolate Chip Trip song, and it's all mostly drum work, really, no vocal at all, but it starts off really subtle. It builds to a crescendo, and then it goes back down subtle again. It gives you a full range of sound quality, and it really tests the excursion rate of the woofers. So I listened to that on the Magnum Hand. I think it was 20.7, I think they had in the room, not the top, but the one below. And it was really, really good. I was quite impressed with it. And of course, I listened to the LRS Plus for a very short time, but then they had the rest of the amp. At any rate, I was impressed with them. I think I was probably more impressed with the Magnapan than the Diptyque, especially for the price. I mean, why would you spend an extra 15,000? Why? Or whatever, thousands and thousands. For the LRS Plus, you can get it for less than $1,000, and the other models $2, $3, $6,000. Save 10 grand, 10, 11 grand, and get and I said to the guy, I thought Magnum Pans couldn't produce bass. And he says, yeah, people say that, but if you put it in the right room, you give it the right amperage, you give it the right wattage from, a good amp, and you really can't beat it for the value. Okay, but I liked it. Of course, I thought about the LRSs in front of my black fireplace here, and it would disappear. But did I mention the cat? And the guy said, if you got a cat, do not buy these, because the cat will chew them up and mess them up, and they won't be any good anymore. So, if you don't know, now you know. Let's see. I didn't get to see the Technics room. Audiophile Junkie spoke about the Technics room. I'm really upset about that because I just finally got my Technics turntable, and I do like the Technics products. I do have a Technics a receiver and a Technics CD, an old CD round table. What do you call it? Carousel, and they work great. I've had them for years. They work great. So this video's getting long. I'm going to kind of cut it down. So the biggest thing after the show is coming back home to my own real world life and my own real world systems. And one of the first things I want to do is play the same song I played here. So my other scholars are still here, and they're connected to my Techniques, and they're in the garage because I really have no room for them in the house. So at some point I want to clean up my garage and actually make it a secondary listening space. But it's not perfect. It's full of boxes and papers, and everything's a mess in there, leftover wood from remodeling, all these things. But I put my chair maybe 2 or 3 feet in the sweet spot right between, in the triangle right between the two speakers. I put on that Tool Chocolate Chip Trip song again, and I streamed it from Tidal over a Fire Stick, cranked it up to about a quarter of the way, and it hit me in my chest. And I this is great. Re-hear your own system after listening to these other systems. I listened to it per listen. I loved it. $20,000, $30,000 for the S7s, and that's great. But I spent $800 for my La Scalas. Work is calling. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to cut this video short, but thanks for watching. And hey, enjoy what you got. That's what you should do. See you.